Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving headfirst, hopefully after a shower, into the murky world of hygiene in the Middle Ages. Compared to our modern showers and fancy soaps, things get a little ripe. So buckle up and grab your nose plugs, because we're about to explore the fragrant past of medieval cleanliness. Ready? Let's go. First things first, let's shatter a myth. People in the Middle Ages did bathe. Yes, you heard that right. Bathing wasn't a rare occurrence, but it certainly wasn't as frequent as our daily showers. Bathhouses were quite popular and functioned like medieval spas. Imagine gossiping with your besties while soaking in a tub filled with hot water and herbs. Sounds kinda relaxing, right? Well, it was, except for the fact that the water might have been shared by a few too many people before you. Think of it as a communal hot tub, but without the chlorine. In some places, bathhouses were even considered social hubs, where people not only bathed but also conducted business and arranged marriages. It was like the medieval version of a country club, but with a lot more nudity and questionable water hygiene. Before you get too comfortable, let's talk about the less glamorous side. Indoor plumbing wasn't exactly a thing back then. Bathrooms? More like chamber pots or stinky outdoor privies. And guess where all their waste went? Straight into the streets or nearby rivers. Talk about a fragrant commute. Dodging horse manure was just the start. You'd be greeted by a lovely waft of, well, human waste as you made your way to the market. They called it a muckraker for a reason. Cleaning the streets was a full-time job. In larger cities, like London and Paris, the sheer volume of waste created significant public health hazards, leading to outbreaks of diseases like cholera and dysentery. It wasn't until the 19th century that proper sewage systems were developed, making the medieval period a particularly stinky chapter in urban history. At least they washed their hands, right? Sort of. Even without fancy soaps, they had their own concoctions. Picture a mix of ashes, animal fat, and herbs. Yum, just what you want to rub on your hands before dinner. It makes you appreciate our good old bar soap, doesn't it? Hand washing was more about getting the visible dirt off than killing germs, since the concept of germs wasn't exactly a thing yet. It's no wonder diseases spread like wildfire back then. Medical knowledge was rudimentary at best, and many believed that illnesses were caused by imbalances in bodily humors or miasmas, rather than microorganisms. This led to some rather interesting, and largely ineffective, hygiene practices. Speaking of strange hygiene practices, get this. Some people actually thought bathing too often was bad for your health. They believed it weakened you and made you more susceptible to illness. So, while some might bathe weekly, others could go months between dips. Let's just say perfume was a booming business, and for good reason. In fact, excessive bathing was often frowned upon, considered an indulgence that could lead to moral decay. This belief was partly rooted in religious and cultural attitudes of the time, which often viewed the body as inherently sinful and in need of purification through suffering rather than cleanliness. As a result, personal hygiene was often sacrificed on the altar of spiritual purity. Of course, royalty had their perks. Fancy private bathhouses with hot water, scented oils, the whole shebang. Even then though, standards were different. Take Queen Elizabeth I, for example. The ultimate boss lady, she reportedly only bathed once a month. Maybe being a monarch meant you could get away with a little BO. Her courtiers probably weren't much better off. Imagine court life, all the pomp and splendor, but everyone smells like they've been on a month-long hiking trip. Royals also had the luxury of access to the best perfumes and scented oils, which they used liberally to mask any unpleasant odors. These fragrances were often made from exotic ingredients like ambergris, a substance produced in the digestive system of sperm whales, and musk, which added to their allure and mystique. Now, here's a fact that might surprise you. Medieval folks weren't wasteful. They actually used human waste as fertilizer for their crops. Yep, you heard that right. Poop power. Not exactly the most glamorous job, but hey, gotta keep those gardens growing somehow. This practice, called night soil, was a common way to recycle nutrients back into the soil. It's eco-friendly in the grossest way possible. Farmers would collect waste from urban areas and spread it on their fields, a practice that continued well into the modern era. This recycling of human waste was an essential part of agricultural life, ensuring that nutrients were returned to the soil to sustain crop production. However, it also posed significant health risks, as untreated waste could contaminate food and water supplies, leading to the spread of diseases. Just like us, medieval people cared about fresh breath. They munched on herbs and spices like mint and fennel, and even had their own version of toothpaste, a gritty mix of pumice stone and salt. Not exactly minty fresh, but it got the job done. Dental hygiene was hit or miss. Some people had remarkably good teeth, while others, well, let's just say they could have been cast in a horror movie. Dental care in the Middle Ages was primitive, to say the least. There were no toothbrushes as we know them today, so people used twigs or cloths to scrub their teeth. Tooth decay was common, and toothaches were often treated by extraction, without anesthesia, of course. If you thought your last dental visit was bad, imagine having your tooth yanked out by a blacksmith. Speaking of hair care, washing it wasn't a regular thing. Most people just brushed it and maybe used some oil to tame the maneh. But upper-class ladies, ever the trendsetters, took things to a whole new level. They used a concoction of urine and lye to lighten their hair. Yes, you heard that right. Urine and lye. Sounds more like a recipe for disaster than a beauty treatment. Imagine the smell, but hey, beauty is pain, right? And apparently, sometimes, it's also really smelly. Hair care recipes from the period often included bizarre ingredients, like goose fat and ashes, which were believed to promote healthy hair growth. These concoctions were thought to cleanse the scalp and improve the hair's texture, although they likely did more harm than good. It's a wonder anyone had hair left at all. And lastly, we have the ultimate weapon in the fight against medieval funk: perfume. With limited showering options, perfume was a lifesaver, or should we say, a nose saver. People burned incense, wore scented sachets, and even used perfumes made from flowers and herbs. The wealthy could afford elaborate scents to mask their natural aromas, while the less fortunate had to make do with simpler solutions. Perfume was not just for masking odors but also played a significant role in medieval medicine. Many believed that sweet smells could protect against disease by purifying the air. Perfume production was an art, with recipes passed down through generations, often kept secret to maintain the family's livelihood. So next time you spritz on your favorite scent, remember, you're carrying on a tradition that goes way back in history.